Can you tell me what happened, how you guys learned about this horrible crash?
We learned from, we learned from a family member. I did. I learned from a family member early in the morning on the second. Yeah. That he had been in, he had pulled over to the side of the road a little bit after midnight, that he was changing a flat tire. And it was outside of Vancouver, Washington, and somebody just hit him and left.
Any idea about the vehicle, who was driving it? Any hints?
Jerry was, the vehicle that hit him? No, nothing so far.
Just that he was hit. And then was he by himself?
Yeah, he was by himself. The very next car that came upon him, I guess it was maybe 10, 15 minutes is all, that came by, of course, came and called 911 and whatever. And he was conscious at that time, and he was talking at that time. And it was able to communicate to the people that stopped and helped, and to the EMTs and things like that. And then they took him to the hospital, Peace Health Hospital in Vancouver, and he died the next morning. So that's what I know.
And it wasn't like, so he wasn't killed on the scene. I mean, a lot of those times the person dies on the scene, but he was able to tell them what happened. And was it just the extent of his injuries that he finally succumbed?
That's what we understand. Yes, he died as a result of his injuries sustained then. Yeah.
And that was almost 2 weeks ago.
That was June 2nd. Mm-hmm.
And any updates, any leads?
Not that I know of. No. No, nothing that I know of.
So your brother was born and raised here in Eastern Idaho?
Yes, I am technically his aunt, but my parents adopted him when he was 3. So yeah, it's a complicated, but he was born in Idaho, and he was raised in Parker. We grew up together, and yeah.
And what was he doing these days, Lori? Was for work? And
he was a taxi driver in Idaho Falls for Idaho Falls Taxi, and he enjoyed that a whole bunch. He liked that, and he lived in Idaho Falls.
And he was visiting his son?
He was visiting family in Washington, yes, and his son was one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Does he have any other children?
Yes, he does. He has not through there. There's 2 that were in Washington, and he had other children as well. Yeah.
For the sake of the story, should I call you his sister?
Sure.
Or his aunt. Okay. So then
either one is fine. Either one. He called me his sister. So yeah, sister's great.
So with that in mind, how would you describe your brother?
Kind, optimistic. He had a lot of struggles in his life, and he always, in the midst of all of that, he was always very, very kind to others and very optimistic about life in general. I'm not sure if I could have been that way with all of the things that had happened in his life. I'm not sure if I would be that kind and optimistic, but he always was. He was always laughing and always kind. He was an incredibly kind person.
And you're having the funeral this weekend?
This Sunday, yes. There's several memorials that are happening, which I like. I like the fact that they're having several, different family members are having several celebrations of life. So there are, several things going on formally, informally, whatever. And so I like that. The one that that I have planned is next Sunday. Yes, at his childhood home.
Oh, nice. The picture of you guys that you sent was it you and him and someone else? The three of you
The picture.
on the obituary.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That was at a fall thing. Yeah. It was
Nice.
my mom and
Your mom.
me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say to whoever did this, whoever hit your brother?
Just that we just want to know what happened. I understand that they might have had their own situation going on and they might have been scared or whatever, but knowing things brings a lot of peace to a family, and just knowing this would be everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. These things are horrible. Especially the not knowing, like you said. I mean, that can be worse than dealing with the fact of what happened, but having that question out there for indefinitely of what happened and who did this. And maybe
I've always watched, crime investigation stories about, cold case files and things like that. And I've always just been horrified to think that a family might not ever know what's going on. And to hear that it happens a lot more than I assumed was pretty stark. It was a pretty stark reality that we're facing right now, along with the loss, which makes it feel just completely different. It makes it a different kind of grief, instead of just, he was killed in a car accident, and we can come to resolve those feelings. But to know that somebody hit him and just left is a whole other level, a whole other way of grieving. I never thought, my heart just goes out to anybody that ever has to experience this. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Lori?
Just if anybody knows anything, just to let us know. He deserves that.